Good afternoon. My name is Boyd Gray and I'm a genealogist, and we are standing here in the graveyard of Monreagh Presbyterian Church. Now, Monreagh Presbyterian Church, just over there, is supposedly the second oldest Presbyterian church in Ireland. But for me it has one very special association, and that is that one of the earliest ministers of Monreagh Presbyterian Church was the Reverend William Boyd. Now, obviously if my name is Boyd Gray, there's going to be a connection, and the reason I'm interested in him is partly because of the Boyd name. However, if you look at this gravestone here, you'll see that it is what's his name? David Boyd. David Boyd buried here, but David Boyd was buried here in 1950. The Reverend William Boyd, although he was minister of this church for 47 years, is not buried here in Monreagh Presbyterian Church at all. He's actually buried down the road there in Boyne Parish Church. And the reason for that is that in the 18th century, Presbyterian ministers were not allowed to baptise, marry or bury anyone in their churches, including themselves. That was the law. In those days, Presbyterians were discriminated against in the same way as Catholics were by the established church. So the poor old Reverend William Boyd is not buried here. Now, why do I find him so fascinating? Well, I'm from Macosquin myself, down near Coleraine, and whenever I started researching my own name, Boyd Gray, I came across this Reverend William Boyd, and I like to claim that perhaps he might be an ancestor of mine. Whether he's an ancestor of mine or not, he should be much better remembered than he is, the Reverend William Boyd, because the Reverend William Boyd was the man in many ways who took Presbyterianism to America, played a large part in taking Presbyterianism to America. Reverend Macosquin was the first man to take Presbyterianism there, but he didn't really take many other than himself and a few followers in his own family. Reverend William Boyd in 1718 decided that he would represent the Presbyterians of the Bann Valley area around Coleraine, and that he would try and see if he could negotiate an emigration of large numbers of them to America. So he went to Boston in 1718 and spoke to Governor Shute in Boston and requested permission for over 319 people had signed a petition saying they wished to go to America. And why did they want to go to America? Well, these were the days of persecution of Presbyterianism after the death of King William. Anne was on the throne at this stage, and she was much more Church of England. It was also the time of the decline of the linen industry, and rents were being raised as well, and rents were coming to an end. So that's why people wanted to go, and that's why he went to negotiate this. And in fact, he did get permission, but before he could come back and tell people that, they got impatient and set sail in 5 ships in July 1718 from Coleraine under the Reverend MacGregor. Reverend William Boyd actually didn't stay with the emigrants. He came home to Macosquin, which is where he was minister at the time, and eventually 1725 he moved from Macosquin Presbyterian Church, where he was the minister, up here to Monreagh Presbyterian Church. So he was the minister here from 1725 to 1772. He was also at one time the moderator of the Presbyterian Assembly, a very well-known man, very famous man who played such a large part in the Scotch-Irish story, the Ulster-Scotch story in America, because he took Presbyterianism there. He started the mass emigration. We tend to think of immigration to America in terms of the famine and everything came after that, but this was 130 years before the famine that the emigration of the Ulster Scots to America began. So I think he deserves much greater recognition. The only memory of him at all is if you go to Boyne Parish Church, you will actually see his gravestone just at the back door, a flat gravestone, and there he is remembered. Was that 5 minutes?